Thursday Night Football had a shutout where the Patriots defense looks like it's for real. Are the Patriots back? They're out here looking like they are on a 5-game win streak, beating up on the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta just can't get any love from New England ever in these situations. But we'll ask the questions as far as where are the Patriots back? Are they a team to fear in this AFC moving forward? Then we got to talk about Antonio Brown's potential COVID-19 vaccination card falsification and how COVID-19's increasing cases across the NFL is impacting the league. Then, of course, we pick 6 games all across the league. When I say we, it's myself, Chris Carter, and your boy Q from Locked On Steelers and Locked On Raiders. It's the Locked On NFL podcast on a Friday. You know it's fun here. Let's do this.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On NFL podcast, the Friday edition, as always, with Chris Carter and your boy Q. Locked On Steelers, Locked On Raiders, up in the house. Q, another week is into the NFL. It's week 11, man. It's so crazy. I still feel I'm past it feeling like it's week 1. But I still feel like it should be like week 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, week 11, it's going by pretty quick, fast, and in a hurry. I mean, it's just that's what it is. It's crazy. We wait all summer long for football to come back. You know, as soon as the Super Bowl's over, we're going in through like convulsions and everything because football's gone, and then it comes back, and then it's gone again so quick. I mean, literally, we're on the downhill slide now. I mean, we're into week 11. There's only 17 football games for every team this year, and that's this year's added game. So just think about that. 18 total weeks for the regular season, and we're way more than halfway. So, yeah, man, it's going to be over before you know it. We'll be talking about playoffs and then the Super Bowl again. So here we go. Thursday Night Football, big-time victory for the Patriots over the Falcons on, like I said, Thursday night.
Absolutely. 25-0. The defense pitches a shutout. They get 4 interceptions, one of them a pick 6. It was just a dominating performance. And this Patriots team, they've not only won 5 straight, they've won 6 out of their last 7. They started this season 1-3, 2-4, and now are sitting there at 7-4 at the 5 seed in the AFC. That's got everyone talking. Wait a minute, did we just really overlook the Patriots and Bill Belichick bring them back? They're certainly a threat right now, Q. The way that they're playing defense and the way that they loaded up in free agency to build around a potential quarterback, and it looks like they got the best one in this draft class so far with Mac Jones. He's playing at a high level. He's making sure the team doesn't have to count too much on him to make big plays, but he's also, kind of just not losing the game for them. In this game, he threw 22 of 26, 207 yards, a touchdown, an interception, and spread the ball around nicely. Wasn't depending on any one receiver, any one tight end. You had Kendrick Bourne leading the way with 42 yards. Nelson Aguilar had 40 yards. Jacoby Myers had 39 yards. I mean, that's a distribution of no difference than 3 yards between the 3 guys.
No, you're right. And the thing about it is Mac Jones leading into the draft process was the quarterback that most people, including myself, looked at and said, oh, he's not going to be really that good. He's going to be okay. He had a lot of weapons around him at Alabama. I could throw it around the yard with all those weapons and complete some passes. And that's exactly opposite. That's exactly false. I mean, Mac Jones has come out and he's been the most steady rookie quarterback that the league has right now. He's done a really good job. I think he was completely overlooked in the draft process, and I think all the teams that went and grabbed a quarterback, the Jets, San Francisco, Chicago, they probably all, in some part of them, they won't never admit it, but I think some part of them thinks that, we probably should have gone with Mac Jones because right now he's showing that he's got the goods, and he goes to the Patriots that have that consistency as far as their culture. They know and identify the kind of players that they want, and he made Cam Newton expendable. Cam Newton didn't have a job until last week because Mac Jones basically booted him out of New England before the season got started, and I thought he ended his career. Now you know why the Patriots rolled the dice with Mac Jones. Is he a superstar? Is he a Hall of Famer? No, but he's good enough to get it done, and that's exactly what he's doing. Right now, the Patriots are a playoff team. They took 1 year off the playoffs, and they're a Patriot. They're a playoff team right now.
I think it's important to remember, too, we're talking about, is he a Hall of Famer? He's a rookie, But people forget when Tom Brady first bursted onto the scene, he wasn't Tom Brady slinging 6 touchdowns a game. Like he was just doing the little things right here and there and playing behind a really good defense. This is, Mac Jones's rise right now. Just I know there's a lot of people that are just like they have double takes like Tom Brady's coming for me. It's the Tom Brady 2.0. Like I get that. I totally get that as a guy who's covered the Steelers, as a guy who grew up in Pittsburgh. Believe me, Pittsburghers, they fear Tom Brady. They're like when he's the idea of a Tom Brady 2.0 coming to New England is a little terrifying. But I will say this. I do think that there's still a bit of, hey, the Patriots have played really well in these last few games. They beat up on the Falcons. They beat up on the Browns. They beat up on the Panthers. They beat the Chargers by 3. They beat up on the Jets. Those are four of those 5 teams I would peg them to beat right to hand it to them. If you're a decent team in the NFL, you should be able to beat them. They're beating them soundly, and I think that's the biggest thing is that they're beating them by these wide margins. But I'll be very interested. They got some very tough games coming up down in the next few weeks. They got the Titans next week at home. Then they go to Buffalo to win. Then they get a bye week. Then they're visiting the Colts. Then they're playing the Bills. They got 4 real games. We'll see how they respond to with those games, because those are all teams that are right in the playoff hunt with them. But still, you got to play the games that are in front of you, and they're playing these games pretty well.
They got 7 wins, Mac Jones rookie year already.
That's crazy.
7. And the team that has the most wins in the AFC right now is the Titans with 8.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the AFC is not a juggernaut as far as like some team is just taking off and running with it. But I'll tell you right now, man, I think that the Patriots are for real. Bill Belichick didn't like not being in the playoffs a year ago. He had a lot of guys out because of COVID. He got a lot of guys back on the defensive side of things. And again, I don't even want to call Mac Jones a manager, a game manager, because I think he's better than that. He had pinpoint accuracy at Alabama, but again, it got overlooked because he had all those weapons on the field. I think this guy's going to be a damn good quarterback. I think he's a damn good quarterback right now. Will he continue to get better? I do believe he will. This is a team that's scary, man. All those teams that in games you rattled off, they're not going to be favored in every one of them, but I can see them winning every one of them. I mean, simple as that. Now, again, I'm not saying that they are, because every given Sunday we see some crazy thing happen, like Buffalo lose to Jacksonville, or Cincinnati losing to the Jets, or
and me getting stickers on my face. Thank you for reminding me.
I mean, look, or the Cincinnati blowing out Baltimore a few weeks ago when I had to get stickers on my face. I mean, there's all kinds of situations. This league is a week-to-week league. It's a really weird year where teams just jump up and bite you. So I'm not going to overlook the Patriots anymore. They spent a lot of money in free agency, and they got some quality draft picks, especially their quarterback, and they're doing some big things now, having 7 wins on the season.
And they got Bill Belichick. Yeah, can't overlook him. He knows how to put together a game plan. So very intriguing to see what the Patriots do moving forward. We got a lot more to talk about, though. Big news came out Thursday in regards to Antonio Brown, a guy that used to be a Patriot very briefly, I might add. But not just him, but how COVID is starting to have a bigger impact as we head into the holiday season, as it's spreading across the country and across the league. But first, we got to tell you about Get Upside. Hey, NFL fans, this is Chris Carter and your boy Q with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about, and it's called Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gas of gallon every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code TOUCHDOWN to get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use promo code TOUCHDOWN to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 or $300 a month in cash back, and there's no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app today and use promo code TOUCHDOWN to get up to 50 cents per gallon cash back on your first tank. Again, that's promo code TOUCHDOWN on the Get Upside app. Keeping it rolling here on the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. It's Chris Carter with your boy Q. We thank you for making the Locked On NFL podcast your first listen every day, NFL fans. Now we got to get to the big Antonio Brown news. Now this has been an interesting development of a story. It's been coming out from Tampa Bay. It was reported that there's an investigation going into that Antonio Brown may have been using a falsified vaccination card with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this came from a report that came from a source stemming from Antonio Brown's former chef. And that the chef was shared text messages with, I guess, the significant other of Antonio Brown that was saying, "Hey, can you make AB a fake vaccination card? He'll pay you $500." And this getting revealed this way. Now, everything's still being investigated. The Buccaneers said that they looked at all the vaccination cards for the Buccaneers this year, and they said there were no irregularities with any of them. So their investigation didn't drop anything. The NFL's investigation didn't pick up anything, and that's bizarre, Q. But I can tell you right now, this isn't the first time that a chef or a former person that was supposed to be employed by Antonio Brown has had a tough falling out with them. It happened a couple times here in Pittsburgh when he was with the Steelers. And now you're asking questions as far as like, is this legitimate? There's questions that Tom Brady's trainer Guerrero, well, they said that he quote unquote knew about this situation. There's questions about that, and now all of a sudden you have all these questions coming to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that just had a tough loss against Washington and is trying to build itself back together to have a back-to-back Super Bowl run here.
It's really strange, this whole scenario. And I mean, there's going back even to the conversation when Aaron Rodgers got caught up in his little scenario, his little situation. Look, if Antonio Brown doesn't want to get the vaccination, fine, but just roll with the rules that are in place. You know what I mean? If you don't want to do it, that's your choice. I'm not here to preach to you and tell you to do it. I think that they should, but that's just me. That's just my opinion. If they decide that they shouldn't or they don't want to, it's not right for them, fine. Just follow the plays and the protocols that are in place for someone who's unvaccinated. Don't go out of your way to try to falsify a document. Don't try to go out of your way and buy a vaccination card so you can have the luxuries and the somewhat freedoms of someone who is vaccinated, but yet you're not. Because at the end of the day, you're just setting someone else up. You know what I mean? So if you're not going to do it for you, fine. That's on you. That's your decision, and everyone has a right to make their decision, whether I agree with it or not. But if this is the case and this truly ends up being a fake vaccination card, then he needs to be punished. I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
he's going to get punished. It's a federal offense to do that. Like it's beyond the NFL. This is AB. Like this is serious problems right here.
Right, but how many times do we see serious problems and someone weasels their way out of it or squirts their way out of it, or you know what I mean? And that was probably the wrong word for it. But I mean, it's just find their way out of the situation.
No, but you're right. But there's so many times we're like, man, this should be serious, and then it's a slap on the wrist because they can pay really good lawyers to make those type of things go away.
I just don't like hey, I'm gonna go and do my own thing, and I'm gonna do it my own way, and I'm gonna lie about it, like Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers got a slap on the wrist from the NFL. It wasn't even a slap on the wrist. It was like a slap on the finger. I mean, it was nothing. I mean, a little minor fine that he got was ridiculous. And he falsified and he lied and he did this, that, and the other. If you're so proud that you're not vaccinated, then just be that. Don't go and falsify it. Don't go and try to buy a fake vaccination card. I mean, that's just where I'm at on it. And it's, not surprising that Antonio Brown would try to do that. Also not surprising that a chef or anyone else would actually kind of turn on him because, well, from what I see from an outsider's point of view, and look, he was with the Raiders for about 12 seconds, so it didn't really I don't even care about that. He doesn't like to make payments, or he doesn't like to pay people that he owes money to because he seems like he's always getting caught up in that situation.
I mean, I know that he had a house in Pittsburgh where the grass was going like extremely high because he hadn't paid his lawnmower or something like that. Like this has just been a chronicle thing with Antonio Brown. And again, this isn't to bash him for that. It's just a reality. This is not the first time. You can look up his Twitter history, his Instagram history. There's been plenty of chefs that have come out and said what was going on there. And the chef's name's Steven Ruiz. He shared his text messages. He said, yes, this comes from him having, being owed about $10,000 from Antonio Brown that he hasn't paid. Now, he says that he believes that Alex Guerrero, Tom Brady's business partner and trainer, photographed it, but he's not sure if he knew if it was fake. So
and look, I mean, and think about this with Antonio Brown. Okay, so now he's got chefs angry at him. He's had trainers angry at him. He's had, people that are even his own agent dropped him at some point. I mean, there's just one after the other after the other. So I always tell everyone, you can be, falsely accused of something once. You can be falsely accused of something twice. But man, after it's 4, 5, 6 times, at some point you got to look in the mirror and realize, hey man, it's not them, it's me.
No, yeah, exactly. That's the situation. But again, when you're a highly successful athlete, you often find yourself in an echo chamber of yes men. And I
Yep.
think that's where Antonio Brown was for the longest time, where no one would tell him that he was doing wrong because he was the man and you wanted to be around that success. And when you're around that for so long, it starts to put you in a peculiar situation when you forget what the difference is from right and wrong because everything you think you do is right and you stop forgetting to ask yourself those tough questions. But this isn't just about Antonio Brown. The entire league is dealing with this. The
Right.
fallout from Aaron Rodgers' situation where it was found out that he wasn't vaccinated because he tested positive for COVID, and then the questions that came with that, and then his response to it, saying the woke mob was after him when really it was no, you were just being punished because you lied and said
Right.
that you were vaccinated. And he's like, oh, I'm immunized. Please. The whole point of this situation is that this needs to be taken more seriously. And now you're seeing after the Aaron Rodgers situation, more players being forced to wear masks while at the podium, and the question being like, "Whoa, are those guys not vaccinated?" And now after this week of games, the NFL is going to be mandating that
Yep.
all players wear masks everywhere because you're seeing numbers rise. And just the game that I have to cover with Steelers Chargers, Joey Bosa, Jeremy Tiller, Christian Covington, Ben Roethlisberger, Minkah Fitzpatrick, all those guys are on these teams' COVID-19 lists. Some of them may come back, some of them might not. We don't know. But the bottom line is that it's starting to spread, and it's worse than last year because last year everyone was still in their bubbles. Everyone was still inside. But right now, everyone's kind of operating like, hey, you're going home to your family, and that family has kids
Right.
that goes to school and wives or family members that go out to work and come back, and you interact with them every day. And if they catch it and they don't know it and then they pass it on to you, it's then coming into the facility, which is becoming the problem. So COVID's here, and now the NFL has to take a step back and say, look, we can't be having this because if you start having this where like Patrick Mahomes has to miss a playoff game, that's going to be disaster for ratings and everything else. And then that's what the NFL is about. They're about the money, and they do not want this impacting the money.
No, they don't. And you're right about the holidays and everyone's getting together. And so the NFL is going to start testing, players twice a week now. I mean, they're going to be tested multiple times, and that goes for everybody. It's not vaccinated. It doesn't matter. Vaccinated or unvaccinated, it's all going to be the same moving forward. And it's just because the spike is up so much. So again, man, it's just something that they got to take care of. They got to try to do the best job that they can with it. Multiple players we've seen over the past few weeks. We've seen Devontae Adams miss games. You mentioned Joey Bosa. You mentioned Minkah Fitzpatrick, Big Ben. I mean, there's just player after player after player has missed because of COVID-19. So it's just something that the league is trying to get a hold on, and it doesn't help when there's guys out there falsifying what their status is and everything. And so, I mean, again, if you're not going to get vaccinated, fine, that's your choice. Not a problem with that. But at least be honest about the situation. Don't lie about it. Don't try to, falsify your documentation so you can get something that other person that's in your same situation, couldn't get. And because then you're just setting everybody up for failure. So if you're going to do that, fine, do that. But just do it and be honest about it.
Exactly. If you don't want to get vaccinated for whatever reason, just be upfront about it. Like I think that was the difference that everyone kind of made between Aaron Rodgers and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving has made it clear, I don't believe in vaccinated. I'm doing all these other things, blah 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 blah. But he never lied about it. There was never a point where Kyrie was like, oh, I'm a hide over here, hide over there. Just come out and say it. And listen, I'll tell you, I disagree with it. I think people should get vaccinated unless you're, of course, immunocompromised or anything like that.
Right.
But if you're a healthy adult and you have no reason to get vaccinated, I've looked at the studies, I've looked at all the things, and I've paid attention to what the actual scientists, not people that read stuff on Google, but what actual certified scientists, and the large majority have said is the safe thing to do. So I'll believe that. But if you want to disagree, that's fine. You have every right to disagree, and you have every right to do what you want to do until your employer says, hey, you got to follow these rules. And if those rules involve wearing masks everywhere or mandating that you get the vaccine, you're going to have to make a decision. Do I want to work here, or do I want to and comply with these rules? Or do I want to stay true to what I think is the right thing to do? So I'm going to be very intrigued to see how this plays out over the next few months, Q, because I'm sure we're not even close to seeing seeing more people going on different COVID-19 lists. And I think we're not even close to seeing some people kind of getting outed on. We may have thought that they were vaccinated, but they weren't.
Yeah, and we're only going into week 11. I mean, we just had the first week 11 game on Thursday night. So there's plenty of football left to be played. I mean, I know it's going by so fast, but there's plenty to be played. So I know there's going to be a lot more players that are going to go out. And it's unfortunate that it's something that we all have to deal with, but it is, and so here we are. It just is what it is. You want to make sure that those players stay as healthy as possible. The teams want their players to be as healthy as possible, and we just all want to see the product out there on the field and cover it. And so, I mean, it's just as
Bottom line.
simple as that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that entirely. But we got to get to the games. Let's stop talking about COVID. Let's talk about some of the fun things. We're going to pick 6 games in our pick 6 that we do every weekend now and give you our picks on those games. But first, we got to tell you about Built Bar. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. If you haven't tried a Built Bar by now, you are missing out. They say it's a protein bar, but it doesn't taste like one. You have to try one of these amazing bars yourself just to believe it. Most protein bars are chalky, waxy, or just plain hard to choke down. A Built Bar is soft, covered in 100% real chocolate. And when you bite into it, you know you're eating something different. It's more of an experience, one that you'll enjoy, and in fact, you'd swear you're eating a candy bar. Built Bars are low carb, low calorie, low fat, low sugar, but high in protein. That's all the healthy benefits on top of just being purely delicious. And they got so many flavors. Whether it's a mouthwatering flavor like coconut, raspberry, mint brownie, coconut almond, salted caramel, double chocolate, cherry barcia. They've got all the flavors for you to enjoy. And this month, Built is coming out with new limited time flavors every 3 to 4 days. So check out their website often. You don't want to miss out. Go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED15, LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your next order. Again, that's promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. We're also brought to you by BetOnline. We're back and better than ever at BetOnline. A new web interface for the start of basketball season and more props, odds, and contests and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code Locked On. That's LOCKEDON, Locked On, to receive your bonus. From basketball to football to NHL to boxing to UFC, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season at BetOnline, the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, and BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, when we do back-to-back ad reads, Q, that means we keep it rolling right into the final segment. Let's get the picks going here, buddy. Now, we got some interesting games this week. We picked what I think are the 6 most interesting ones matchup-wise. Let's start with the 1:00 games. 5-5 Colts at 6-3 Bills. The Bills have been up and down. They lost to the Titans. They lost to the Jaguars, but they bounced back and beat up on the Jets last week. The defense looked like what we've seen when this defense has been on. The Colts have been up and down as well. There's times they look like a horrible team. There's times they're like, hey, this team could compete somehow. I don't think they do it this week, though. I think the Bills are going to be at home. They know they need to get back into the swing of things. They lost their hold at the top of the AFC, and they know that they got to push hard to get back up there so they can get in competition for that bye, because everyone wants that 1 seed to get that bye week in the first week of the playoffs. I'm going with the Bills because they know the importance of that.
Yeah, I just think the Bills are the better team, and I think that you're right about them getting back on track. They're sitting there at 6-3 right now, trying to keep pace with the Tennessee Titans, and the Titans have a pretty easy schedule the rest of the ways. So, are they going to slip up a couple times before the end of the season? I'm sure they will, but Buffalo wants to keep pace and wants to get back on track and start being consistent too. Win multiple games back to back to back, just kind of get things cooking. So that's where I think the Buffalo really comes in and lays the hammer down. And honestly, I don't even feel like this game is going to be a close one, even though the Colts have been playing better and played not too bad throughout the course of the season. They're sitting there at 5-5. It's a strange, weird kind of 5-5. So I think Buffalo gets this win, no doubt about it. And like I said, I think it's not even really that close.
Yeah, same here. I just think that Josh Allen's going to go off and Carson Wentz isn't going to be able to against that defense. Now we're going to get to some of your boys. Your boys, Q, the Fighting Matt Rules. They're back at it. As Cam Newton said, I'm back last week when he returned, and now all of a sudden he's going to be starting in this game. The Panthers, 5-5, back in the mix after everyone was starting to leave them off for dead. They started off 3-0, then they fell to, I think, 3-5 at one point, and now here they are at 5-5. But Q, they're facing the 3-6 Washington football team that's just upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. Tampa Bay, though, lost Chase Young for the season with a torn ACL.
Yep.
Tough loss for them. I commend them for how they won last week, and they kept the ball out of Tom Brady's hands for 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. Amazing feat by Taylor Heineke in that offense, but I think that was more of a one-time thing. I also think that Cam Newton is going to bring a spark to Carolina that inspires the rest of the team. You're going to see Robbie Anderson being happy. Maybe Christian McCaffrey's back. You're going to see a more complete team with the Panthers, and I'm going with them at home. The Fighting Matt Rules get back in the positive side of their record to jump to 6-5. Are you with me, Q?
Yeah, I just think that, Cam Newton, this story is really cool. First of all, I was excited and happy to see Cam go back to Carolina. And then I thought that it was just going to be a really good story that was going to help sell some tickets and put some butts back in the stands and get people excited and kind of, carry over some juice till the end of the season. So whatever happens with Carolina, no one's really talking about Matt Rule and the team and maybe some failures that they had down the stretch. But to come back with a 2-touchdown performance like he did last week, one on the ground and one throwing the ball, I mean, in back-to-back plays pretty much. Christian McCaffrey looked pretty good. I'm still pretty skeptical on him, but I don't think that Washington, I know they have a really good defense. Their offense is very suspect. I think Carolina's defense is strong enough to keep Washington's offense at bay, and I think the Fighting Matt Rules get back in the win column again. Back-to-back wins. Cam Newton gets back in the end zone again, and they're at 6-5 overall, just like you said.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that one. Now let's jump ahead a little bit here. Let's jump to a game between two teams that are tough to figure out which direction they're going in. The 5-4 Saints and the 4-6 Eagles. Eagles at home in this one. The Saints, of course, with their backup quarterback situation, Trevor Siemian and everything else is going on there. But the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, stepping up. They had a big win last week. Jalen Hurts connected with Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith has come really on the last 2 weeks. Alabama quarterback to Alabama wide receiver, though I guess Jalen Hurts probably wants to be more remembered for his days at Oklahoma. But still, there's something clicking there, and they're making plays. The Saints defense is a better defense than what the Eagles have, but I'm going to go with the quarterback that I think will get it done. I think that Jalen Hurts is going to do just enough with this Eagles offense to make some big plays. I don't know if the Saints can do that with their offense. The Eagles defense, they've got Javon Hargrave, they've got Fletcher Cox. They're going to be able to get some disruption there, and I'm going to take the Eagles. It'll be a close one, but they'll win this one at home.
Yeah, I'm really riding the fence on this one, man. I really want to take the Saints because I think their defense is way stronger. Their defense is,
I agree.
is awesome, really. So I really want to go with New Orleans here, but I do like Jalen Hurts. I'm a big believer in him. I think that he still is learning the starting quarterback position. I think that he'll get it at some point. It might still be a little bit too early for him, but he's learning on the fly because he has to. So I'm going to roll with the Eagles in this one as well. I like Jalen Hurts at Alabama and Oklahoma. Thought he did a heck of a job at both spots. Roll Tide. Shout out to Alabama. So, yeah, it's all good. I think Jalen Hurts gets it done. Devontae Smith, Bama to Bama. They connect a couple times on Sunday.
Now, here's the game where it actually includes your boys, Q. The 5-4 Bengals at the 5-4 Raiders. A big game with playoff implications here, just because these are two teams battling for wild card spots right now. The Bengals coming off a bye week, but they were coming off of losing a tough one to the Browns. The Raiders, though, they've been struggling as of late. Granted, there's been a lot of stuff. You got Arnett that's had to go, Ruggs has had to go, Gruden's had to go. It's been a lot of blows and distractions to a team, and I really see that taking a hold on the organization. Unfortunately for them, they had a really strong start to this year, but I think the Bengals coming off a bye week, they're going to have the advantage here. They're going to be rested. They're going to come out with a more aggressive plan of attack, and I think that's going to do just enough damage to get them over the top against Vegas. But what say you?
Well, I'll say this. Cincinnati coming off the bye I thought was going to be a big concern, but after talking to James Rapine, host of Locked On Bengals, he let me know that the Bengals are awful coming off the bye. They're just not very good. They've also lost 2 in a row going into the bye. Their defense has come down to earth a little bit. There's been a lot of changes. Joe Burrow's been turning the ball over a lot more than you know what I mean? So there's a lot not to like, but this is a huge game for both teams. The Raiders are sitting in the 8 seed right now. The Bengals are in the 9 seed. They're both sitting there at 5-4. Both teams right now are currently out of the playoffs. They're trying to find their way back into the playoffs, so they got to stack some victories, and I think it starts on Sunday. One of these two teams I do believe is going to end up in the playoffs, and I think this is going to be a big game. I've said it before that I like to give Allegiant Stadium and I like to give the home team a little bit of a favor. So I'm going to roll with the Raiders in this one. But I'll tell you right now, they haven't been that great at home. So I don't know how their home field advantage is right now. They got shellacked by Kansas City on Sunday Night Football. Chicago went into Allegiant Stadium and beat the brakes off them. So they got to start establishing that home field advantage. I'm thinking it's going to start on Sunday, but I think it's going to be a game that's going to go down to the wire. I got the Raiders with a 3-point victory.
All right, so there's a first split, I believe, of the day. That's going to be interesting. Now, let's go to what really is the game of the week here. It's the 7-2 Cowboys at the 6-4 Chiefs. Two quarterbacks everyone wants to talk about, Dak Prescott and Patrick Mahomes. And it's funny, just 2 weeks ago, both of them, everyone was like, "Whoa, what's up with Dak? What's up with Pat?" Because Dak Prescott did not play well against the Broncos in his first game back from injury. Patrick Mahomes just hadn't lit it up. But then last week, both of them lit it up. Dak Prescott lighting up the Falcons, and then the Chiefs lighting up the Raiders for 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. All of a sudden, these are two teams that are looking like, okay, yeah, they're back to being,
Stella got her groove back.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Stella got her groove back. But you know what? When it comes to getting a groove back, the best groove is the Chiefs groove. And that's what I'm going to go with here. I think if Patrick Mahomes really is back, if what we saw last week is that this offense just was going through a slump and now they're clicking again. And sometimes great offenses do that. It just happens. Like, some days, some weeks it's just like, hey, the reads were off or the chemistry wasn't there or something was just off that we'll never figure out. But then when it clicks, and they start to score in bunches. Because of what I saw last week, I can't bet against the Chiefs at home. If this was in Dallas, I might think different.
Right.
But I'm taking the Chiefs at Arrowhead.
If this was on a neutral site like it was SoFi Stadium for the Super Bowl, I would pick Dallas in this game. They create a bunch of turnovers. I like their offense. I like the fact that they have the run game if they need it. They got Zeke Elliott. He can make it happen. He's looking better than he has. But on the strength of it being at Arrowhead Stadium, at the fact that Kansas City looks like they flipped that switch coming off that game against the Raiders, they just beat the brakes off the Raiders. When at the end of the game, they were just toying around with them. So at some point, I thought that Kansas City was going to come back around, and it looks like they are back around, and they're going to be at home. Their fans are going to be lathered up, ready to go, excited, fired up for sitting in first place in the AFC West, a division that's very, very tight. I got to roll with Kansas City here. Now, I'll tell you right now, for the Raiders' sake, it'd be great if Dallas found a way to win this game, but you can't sit there and run around the league and beg for help when you had a chance to win your own games. And so the Raiders, they chewed on their food and they spilt it. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. They didn't handle their business. So Kansas City, you got to give them a lot of props, and I think Kansas City keeps that thing rolling and picks up a big W over the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday. A great game, probably the best game of the week.
Last of the pick six here, Sunday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 5-3-1 head into Los Angeles to face the 5-4 Chargers. This is an interesting game.
How did this game end up Sunday night and not the Chiefs and Cowboys?
That's a very good question. Who thought of this beforehand? Because even coming into this season, you would have thought this would have been a game that you put
right.
You would put that at Sunday Night Football. But you always got to remember certain networks fight for certain things. Like CBS I think actually Fox will probably get the Chiefs Cowboys game, and Fox is probably like, we're not letting that game go. Are you crazy? So that was probably that situation, whereas the CBS is like, yeah, we'll let you have Steelers Chargers. But Steelers Chargers also seems to happen always on Sunday night or on a night game period. It's always bizarre. But it's crazy. There's been a streak since I think like 2009. The away team has won this game between these two. But both teams, like I said before, are dealing with COVID situations. Ben Roethlisberger missed last week's game because of COVID. He's still on the COVID list. I'm hearing in Pittsburgh's camp that this could come down to the wire as far as if he'll be able to play. Minkah Fitzpatrick is in the same boat. Joey Bosa is on the Chargers COVID list. So is Jeremy Tiller. So is Christian Covington. There's a lot of different guys. Big question. And then you also have to look at the overall injuries. The Steelers are really hurt up right now. They're not sure if TJ Watt's going to play. Right now, it's looking like Kevin Dotson won't play. He's their left guard. They might be, throwing in a backup there. They're not sure if Chase Claypool will be able to play. There's a lot of just injuries upon injuries, across the board on top of COVID. Because of that, I have to pick the Chargers at home. This is a West Coast game. The Steelers, though, have played well on the road. They've given teams hard fights on the road. But this is just a lot. If TJ Watt plays, I'll pick the Steelers. But if he doesn't play, I got to go with the Chargers just because that's a tall task for Cam Hayward to lead everybody on that defense, while we're still not sure if Ben Roethlisberger or Mason Rudolph will play in this game.
Yeah, I got to go with the Chargers in this one. I just think they're the better team. I mean, I really do. The Steelers have struggled a little bit this season. They started to get their way back again, but with all the COVID, all the guys that could potentially be out, I don't trust it. So if I was placing my money on the team right now, one of those two teams, I'd pick the Chargers, even though they got their own issues. So just being at SoFi, I don't really consider that a big home field advantage for the Chargers because they don't really have any fans that show up. So there'll probably be more Steeler fans there than
Probably
Charger
will.
fans. But I don't think that the Steelers going in, with only 3 bullets in the chamber instead of 6, I don't think that they get it done. So I'll go with the Chargers in this one. But I do think Pittsburgh gives them a fight, and Najee Harris goes out there and does Najee Harris type things.
He certainly will. The Chargers have one of the worst rushing defenses in the NFL. This would be a
Exactly.
chance for Najee to really break out. He currently leads all rookies in yards from scrimmage right now. But there are 6 games. I believe our only split is wait, which one was our split? I
The
think
Raiders and Bengals.
that's right. I picked the Bengals. You picked the Raiders. So that's the one
Yep.
that we're really watching there at the 4 o'clock hour in the Eastern time zones here. Q, it's always fun doing this with you, man. Let me know where they can find you, follow you, and get more of your work.
Everything you can find about me is on Twitter at your boy Q254, Locked On Raiders, Locked On Bets. My daily radio show, put out all the guests that I got coming up on that. Anything you want to find out, always follow me on Twitter at your boy Q254 and at Carter Critiques. I know that's your Twitter, but you got a lot of different places to find them, man. Where can they find you?
Absolutely. The Twitter and Instagram at Carter Critiques. You'll see a lot of my work there. I cover Pitt football, Pitt basketball for DKPittsburghSports.com. I host the Locked On Steelers podcast. I work for Channel 11, our local NBC affiliate, WPXI, here in Pittsburgh, where I cover high school football. And I also do work on the Steelers and fantasy football for them. You can check all of this out at Carter Critiques on Twitter. You can read my work at DKPittsburghSports.com. If you're an NFL fan out there wondering about Kenny Pickett, one of the top quarterbacks in this upcoming college football class, I've done a lot of work on him. I just did a new film piece on why he won't blink against Virginia's Brennan Armstrong in this huge ACC matchup this upcoming weekend. So if you want to get all that, go to DKPittsburghSports.com, look up my work on the University of Pittsburgh, and see what we got cooking there. But thanks again for listening to Locked On NFL Podcast. We appreciate all of our listeners here, and viewers, of course. If you're watching us on YouTube, keep checking us out. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the like on the video if you're watching. It really helps us out. This channel will be back in your ears and on your screens on Monday, recapping all the great action from the NFL.